Imagine a world where you could access the entirety of the internet with just a thought, or where you could merge with artificial intelligence and benefit from everything it could potentially provide. It sounds like science fiction, but with Neuralink, this future is a lot closer than you think. Let's take a look at how this revolutionary technology could change the very nature of what it means to be human. Founded in 2016 by Elon Musk and a team of neuroscientists and engineers, Neuralink is a neurotechnology company developing an implant that will allow any brain to directly interface with the computer. The technology is known as a brain-machine interface, and it's going to completely change the way we think about the human brain and what it's capable of. The idea for a brain-machine interface is nothing new. Scientists and engineers have long dreamed of creating a direct connection between the brain and a machine. Only recently did the technology advance far enough for this to even become possible. Neuralink is one of the first companies to make significant progress in this field, and its efforts have sparked excitement and interest from people all around the world. But it does come with some controversy. At its core, the Neuralink device works by connecting the brain to a computer in a way that lets the brain control the computer, and vice versa. This connection is made possible by the combination of electrodes implanted into the brain and an algorithm that is specifically made to interpret and predict the electrical signals produced by the brain. The electrodes are placed directly into the brain and are able to record the activity of individual neurons, which, if you're not familiar, are brain cells. This information is processed by the software in the Neuralink device, which is able to interpret the electrical signals and then translate them into commands that can be understood by a computer. The current version is called the N1 implant, and it's about the size of a quarter and connects to outside computers wirelessly. In previous versions for the concept of the device, you can see that it sits behind or next to the ear and then goes up into the brain from there. But the current version sits near the top of the brain and then fits in where the skull would normally be, about the size of a quarter, and then connects to the brain from there. One of the earliest notable demos that impressed the world was the Pong game that the monkey was playing with its mind. In this example, the monkey first learned to play the game with the joystick, and while doing this, the Neuralink chip recorded all the brain activity in the regions of the brain responsible for the movements while the monkey was practicing. This allows the device to learn what signals initiated the desired outcome in the form of a move in the game. It takes these initial signals and then activates the same pathways that resulted in the desired movements. The initial signal is wanting to move the block up to hit the ball in Pong, and Neuralink essentially reads the mind and predicts the actions that would follow based on the reactions to certain stimulus. This means the monkey no longer needs to move the joystick to play the game and can just do it with its brain and thinking about what actions come next. More recently, they have shown demos of some of the same monkeys doing what Neuralink calls telepathic typing, and it uses some of the same mechanisms in the Pong game with predicting joystick movements, but it requires a lot more accuracy on the part of the monkey and more so the Neuralink device. I imagine not a lot of people feel the same way as I do, but to be honest, I'm kind of jealous for the monkeys. They get to play games and ask for snacks without having to move a muscle. In their most recent presentation, Elon said that the monkeys enjoy doing the demos because they're slowly fed banana smoothie the whole time. Of course, Neuralink is so much more than just a form of entertainment watching monkeys play games with their brains. But really, the technology behind Neuralink is extremely complex and involves many different disciplines from neuroscience and engineering to computer science and robotics. The team behind all this is set out to change the world in amazing ways. Since they launched, Neuralink has long said that they want to restore basic functions to people with disabilities such as paralysis and other neurological disorders. By establishing a direct connection between the brain and a robotic limb through the implant, people with these conditions could regain some control over their body and live a more able life, or even control a computer with just their thoughts. Elon Musk has also explained that the first two applications that they want to develop for disabilities are going to be fixing eyesight and restoring movement to people with spinal cord injuries. By mapping the visual cortex of the brain, and with a camera that can even be from a smartphone, the Neuralink device can translate a stream of data from this phone camera into images in the brain that are much lower quality than real life, but still images, and can be seen in this image on the right that is black and white. This is absolutely incredible, and it doesn't even require the eyes of the patient. They completely bypass that by using the phone camera as the eyes instead. So people who are blind, even from the beginning of life, can see the world in some amount of detail. That is what Neuralink hopes to achieve, and I wholeheartedly believe that they are working to make it happen. Now, I'm saying this not because I think I'm even close to as smart as the neuroscientists working for Neuralink, and I do believe what they're saying, but I did start to study neuroscience in college, and from what I can recall, When there is an area of the brain that is not used for long enough, it can lose the potential to ever regain the function it was initially dedicated for. This is the universal neuroscience idea of use it or lose it, and it can be applied to something as simple as just memory. If you don't remember something for long enough, you're eventually going to forget it. And so if the brain no longer uses a region of the brain for what it was meant to be used for, then eventually it might use it for something else. Studies have shown that in blind people, the part of the brain that was once used for visual processing becomes used for hearing and language processing. This makes me think that Neuralink might only work for people that are not born blind and still have a part of their brain used for vision that's still structurally intact. And the same would apply to skeletal muscles in those that are paralyzed. Someone who has been paralyzed since birth might not have enough muscle necessary to move their limbs. I don't know for sure, but it seems like Neuralink might only be able to work for people who are recently paralyzed and still have muscle mass and neural motor pathways. With the rate at which technology and medicine have been advancing, I don't doubt that someday we might be able to figure out a way to redirect and recreate pathways in the brain that have been long forgotten. All that is really just to say that Neuralink's device might be somewhat limited in its capabilities compared to what they've made it seem. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, and it won't be before too long because the team says after further testing, they're hoping to start performing trials on humans within the next 6 months on people who are blind or paralyzed using the current N1 implant. Neuralink could also enhance the cognitive abilities of any individual, healthy or not. With this direct connection between the brain and a machine, people could perform tasks that they otherwise might not be able to, or just perform their current ones a bit better. This could allow anyone to have faster processing speed, better memory, or even develop new abilities like sensing magnetic fields. Maybe it could even help me stay more focused planning and filming these videos. Nah, I'm just kidding. But it could also help improve education and learning to where people could retain information better and learn languages faster and just more subjects. But I could also see it running into some problems in the future with someone who might actually need it for a physical disability, but then ends up using it to their advantage in something like school, on an exam, or some other case. But this will be interesting to see how it plays out, so stay tuned, I guess. It could be used to improve skills in communication and social interactions, so maybe it would be useful in autism or just generalized anxiety. It could enhance physical abilities like speed, strength, and coordination, and could have applications in a variety of fields such as military, law enforcement, or even sports, but I'm not sure how fair that would be. And it could do a lot more for improving people's health and well-being. It could be used to monitor a person's health and provide early warnings of potential health problems like heart attacks or strokes. And it might even be able to treat or prevent chronic conditions like epilepsy or migraines. One of the many areas where it gets kind of interesting is the fact that it needs to be charged. And imagine someone is driving or doing something pretty important in their life, maybe just walking, and their device runs out of battery. That would be pretty terrible. Imagine going on a trip and you forget your charger, and it's not like you can just buy a micro USB and then just stick it into your head. I doubt it would be that easy, but they do have wireless charging set up, and maybe they could make it something like a hat that you put on and it has like the charging in the back. That'd be pretty cool, but this is just me brainstorming. One of the biggest risks in implementing brain and machine interfaces like Neuralink is the difficulty in precisely implanting the electrodes into the brain without causing any damage. The brain is a delicate and complex organ. It's going to be extremely difficult to safely and accurately place electrodes in specific areas of the brain, while also avoiding things like blood vessels. To address this challenge, Neuralink has developed a unique approach that involves their R1 robot to carefully place electrodes in the brain through tiny holes drilled in the skull. However, this is still an invasive surgery with risk of things going wrong or being rejected by the body. The operating room and equipment better be perfectly sanitized, especially in the first release, because they said that it'll take 15 minutes of the brain being exposed for them to place 64 of the microthread electrodes into the brain. They've already performed a number of tests implanting the chips into the brains of mammals like pigs and monkeys, and yet the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine reported that 15 of the 23 monkeys that were tested on between 2017 and 2020 have died. This is likely a large reason why Neuralink is under investigation by the US Department of Agriculture for potentially being in violation of the Animal Welfare Act. And this is only the short to medium term consequences for a patient with these devices in their head. We don't even know the long-term implications of things like radioactivity or just infections that can take place from this being in the body. Another important challenge that they seem to be overcoming is developing an algorithm that can consistently and accurately interpret the electrical signals produced by the brain and translate them in a way that a computer could understand and make use of it. There are also ethical considerations to take into account while developing and implementing this technology. One of the key concerns is the potential misuse for this technology in ways that could be by the person who has it or by those who are targeting it. Imagine someone could hack into the system and gain control of their thoughts and actions and cause harm to other people around them or themselves. There's also the concern of this being another form of social inequality, but this time technological, between people who have the implants and those that don't. Because with better memory and intelligence, that could put them at a considerable advantage over others. For many people, including Elon Musk of course, the benefits outweigh the risks, even though we do not know all the future implications of what this technology could be capable of. But for right now, doing research on pigs, monkeys, and eventually humans who consent to being tested on while also being made aware of all the possible risks seems perfectly fine for researching and developing a technology that could change the lives of so many people. However, the development and implementation of this technology is not without its challenges and ethical concerns. There are significant technical and ethical hurdles to overcome, and it will be important to carefully consider the potential implications of this technology on society as a whole. Despite these challenges, the future looks bright for Neuralink and the field of brain-machine interface technology. Let me know in the comments if you guys would want to have Neuralink implanted into your brain. I'll go ahead and say it. I would want to have it at some point in the future. Maybe not right now. I don't think it's developed enough. But let me know what you think. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.